Hi guys, today I'm going to do a video on solving systems of equations. We are going to look at the algebraic method substitution in this video. We use the substitution method to solve a system of equations when we have one variable by itself. This can be either x or y. For example, one equation should start with x equals or y equals. Remember, when we have a system, we have two equations, and we need to find the intersecting point of these two equations. So when we substitute, we need to have that variable, one of those variables by itself. So here is an example. Here is a system. We have two equations. We first want to look which equation has a variable all by itself and whether it is the x or the y. In the first equation, we have y by itself. Once we identify the variable we have by itself, we are going to circle what that variable is equal to. So in this case, it is equal to negative 3x plus 5. Then we're going to draw an arrow from the negative 3x plus 5 to the y in the other equation. Now we need to substitute that negative 3x plus 5 into the other equation for our y. When we substitute, we like to think of it as a replacement. If you think about a sports game like soccer or basketball, the players sub in and sub out. So if somebody is coming into the game, somebody has to go out of the game. So in this case, we're removing y from our equation, and we're going to substitute it or replace it with negative 3x plus 5, since that is what y is equal to. Once we have this, we now have a multi-step equation that has one variable in it. As long as we only have one variable in the equation, we can solve for that variable. So we're going to solve this equation by following our steps that we learned when we did solving equations unit, which is DCMS. So first we're going to do the D, which stands for distribute. In this problem, we're going to distribute the negative 4 to what's inside parentheses. Remember, when you distribute, remember to keep the signs, and when you're multiplying, be careful of your signs. So in this example, we bring down the 5x, and negative 4 times negative 3x is positive 12x, and negative 4 times positive 5 is negative 20. Bring down the equals negative 3. So now we're done with distributing. We go to our C, which is combine like terms. In this example, we have a 5x and a 12x on the same side of the equal sign, so we can combine them, and they combine to 17x. We bring everything else down. So now we're done with C. So M stands for moving the variables to one side of the equal sign and the constants to the other. We already have the x's only on the left, so we need to move the constants to the right. So we have negative 20. We're going to move that to the other side by doing the opposite operation. So we're going to add 20 to both sides, canceling it out on the left and giving us 17 on the right. Our last step would be to solve this by doing opposite operations always. So 17 times x, we're going to divide to get x by itself. When you divide both sides by 17, which gives us x equals 1. So we're not done yet. We know that our value of x is equal to 1, but when we solve a system of equations, we're looking for an ordered pair or a coordinate point, because we're finding the point of intersection. If we were to graph these equations, where they cross would be our answer. So we now need to find our y value. So we know x is 1, and we have to find y. So we're going to take our answer, and we're going to go back to the equation that we circled. We circled the negative 3x plus 5, and we now know that x is equal to 1. So we're going to substitute the 1 in for x into that equation, and we're going to just plug that into our calculator to solve for our y value, which is going to give us y equals 2. And now we just substitute that 2 into our coordinate point, and we have our solution. So the solution to this system of equations would be 1, 2. So we can check this by hand by substituting our answer into both equations, and it's important that both equations work for this to be correct. So in the first equation, we have y equals negative 3x plus 5. So we know y is 2 and x is 1, so we can replace the y and the x. And now on the left side, we have just 2. So on the right side, we're going to calculate that. Negative 3 times 1 is negative 3 plus 5 is also 2. So 2 equals 2 is correct, so we know that's right. You can't just check one though, it must be true for both. So we're going to check the other one. We're going to replace the x with 1 and the y with 2. And then the right side just says -3. So we're going to do 5 times 1 minus 4 times 2, which also gives us -3. So since -3 is equal to -3, we know we did it correctly. Okay, so that's how you solve a system of equations algebraically using the substitution method. I hope this was helpful. I'm going to come up with a video also with using the elimination method, and we'll also talk about when it's better to use which method. Thanks for watching. Bye, guys.